everybody. Hello. How are you? Another week, another Wednesday, another sesh. So today we're talking about what's the plan, Stan. I used to say that to my kids all the time. What's the plan, Stan? What are you doing today? What are we doing today? Anyway, let me just double check before we dive into today's topic about 90-day goal setting since we're in quarter three. Just want to make sure that we're up and running and that you can hear me. And let's see what's going on. Facebook's been a little funky and glitchy these last couple of days. So I want to make sure that we are good. There we go. There we go. Awesome. You can hear me. You can see me. Great. Super. So if you are joining me live, do me a favor and give me a heart, give me a thumbs up, let me know that you're here. And if you're watching in replay, let me know that too. So that I can come in and say hello to you and thank you for popping in. So all right. So our 90-day planning. Believe it or not, we are at the beginning of quarter three, which is outrageous bananas, crazy pants. This year has gone by like so crazy, so fast. It's unbelievable. So I thought I didn't want this time to go by without us getting really into what it looks like to plan for 90 days. So why 90-day planning and why is it important for your business? So 90-day planning is important to your business because it's hard for us, especially when we first start planning for our business, to think out beyond 90 days to set bigger goals. And if we only set a monthly goal, then we're always kind of in the chasing process. So this is almost like that, I talked about this before with batching and batching your content and batching your social media posts and sitting down and doing that. This is another way to batch, is setting up a 90-day plan. So today what I'm going to dive into is a little bit about goal setting, why it's important, why we want to do it, and the framework that I use to get mine done. And it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple, and it will end up helping you kind of set the tone for what you're going to work on over these next 90 days to set your quarter four up for some really good results. Because remember, what we do today is really planting the seeds for our future selves, right? So just like working out, there's not a direct relationship immediately or direct feedback about, what's happening in your body. It takes, several weeks in order for you to begin to see what the fruits of your work in labor and efforts. Same thing here with 90-day goals. So, and the other thing that this setting of the 90-day goals does is it kind of helps that part of decision making ahead of time. So if our brain doesn't need to decide what the goals are on a daily basis or a monthly basis, we can really get a lot more done. So it kind of ties into productivity as well when we set these 90-day goals. And here's the thing, our businesses are not unlike, a garden or a house plant or something, which I'm notorious for killing, by the way, just FYI, in case you wanted to know. I so want to be a plant lady and I'm the worst. But anyway, so a lot of us though we plant a garden and then we don't tend to water it, right? We don't tend to nurture it. We don't tend to notice, is that plant getting too much sunshine? Could it go someplace shadier? Does it need more daylight? We a lot of times if we treat our businesses like we should just plant the seeds and let it go and see what happens. We're not weeding anything. We're not paying attention to our businesses. We get so into the work of client engagement and client appointments, and we think that's working on our business, but it's really not. At that point, we are working in the business. So we really have to take that step back to work on the business. And listen, I get it. There are a lot of shiny objects out there when we're running businesses, right? We're wearing so many hats at every given moment. So it's very easy for us to head down the path of, oh, somebody needs an appointment. Let me get that scheduled. Oh, someone sent me an email. Let me answer that email. And we end up in other people's agendas and we end up not being methodical enough at all. So we need to have a way to kind of circumvent that shiny object syndrome. And I love the analogy that Stephen Covey has shared over the years. And Stephen Covey has talked about the idea of the rock. So I don't know if you've ever seen him do this before. I think I saw him do it on Oprah years ago, after high school with big hair, 80s hair and everything. But he had a jar and he would ask people to fill it with either large rocks, pebbles, or sand. And most people would start by filling it with sand and then the smaller pebbles and then the larger pebbles. And what they found was that they could not fit all of the material into the jar. But when they took the large rocks and put those in first, and then they added the smaller pebbles, and then they added the sand in, they could fit everything into that jar. And the key was getting those big rocks into place. So we're going to talk about how you can get those big rocks set up into place. Oh, hey, everybody. Hi, everybody who's joining. I see people are popping in. So if you say, pop in, give me a big heart, a love, thumbs up, whatever. I don't know, huggy. That's awesome. So, not unlike what we do for our clients, for those of us who are stagers on right now, we create a roadmap and a plan for our clients. And what we see is that when our clients have a roadmap and a plan, they can achieve their results so much faster, right? So all we're doing is we're doing that for our businesses. And what we measure and what we create a goal around that we can measure improves, right? So this has been shown to be true. And honestly, all you need to do is take a look at all of the people walking around hitting their 10,000 steps before a Fitbit and before your Apple Watch. You had no idea how many steps you were walking in a day, but the minute you knew you were only walking 3,000, and you know that 10,000 helps you to lose weight and become more fit and become healthier, everybody's talking about the 10,000 miles. So we need to have a way to create kind of a Fitbit mentality around the things in your business, things that you can measure, things that you can look at and go, okay, am I on track? Am I not on track? How are we doing? Right? So it's kind of your equivalent of the 10,000 steps. And seriously, our brains love goals. We absolutely thrive on goals. And it's so fascinating because the neuroscience tells us that it taps into both of our kind of our emotional centers and our decision-making centers when we create a goal for ourselves. So the first thing is our emotional center, when we set a goal, it evaluates how important it is to us. So if you've ever had a goal that you have achieved, likelihood is that you had a really compelling reason around getting that goal accomplished. Maybe it was a health goal, maybe it was a wealth goal, maybe it was a relationship goal, something that was really important to you, something that you stuck with and you stay focused on. Because your brain will, the minute you give in and you go, maybe it's not so important to me, your brain is looking for the way out. It's clearly not an important goal to you. So your emotional center, your amygdala is looking for your level of commitment. So a lot of times, Brooke Castillo in her podcast on the Life Coach School talks about having your really deep why, your deep why for doing the work that you do in this world. And unless you have a very deep why, the likelihood is you're probably going to fall off track, which is a shame. So you have to, first of all, think about a deep why for why you are doing this. So in your business, it's not enough to bring on new clients. A deep why it goes further than that, right? It goes beyond, it goes to, like in the case of our business, my goal is that there is not a single homeowner out there who is sitting in a divorce situation and can't leave, who is trying to sell their parents' house and they are overwhelmed and stressed out, that I want to make sure that those people know we are out here. Those are my compelling reasons. I want staging business owners to stay in business and move forward and grow. That is my deep why for all that I do. And because I have those deep whys, on the days that, I don't feel like doing something, it's very easy to be like, well, maybe today I don't need to get it done. Maybe today I don't need to pop on my Facebook Live. There is a much larger force at work behind that. So we want to attach a deep why to whatever goal setting that you do. Okay. The brain, the center of your frontal lobe, your higher thinking brain, your problem solving brain, starts to think, as soon as you set a goal, what are the steps that I need to do in order to reach that goal, right? So then those two centers together, your emotion and your thinking planning brain, work together to help you navigate that. But there are some things that will come up along the way that you want to prepare for, and I'm going to talk to you about that in just a minute. So hey, everybody who's popping on. So good to see you. Sorry, I'm like over here babbling. I can only see comments over onto my left, so I keep forgetting to look over at you. But hello, everybody who's joining in. So first of all, I just want to say this. The art of the 90-day goal planning is kind of a practice. And it's almost like I was telling my students the other day, when for the first time you go on vacation somewhere and you I don't know, you plan a vacation and you pack, your suitcase, and then you realize, oh, you know what, the next time I'm on this vacation, it would be great if I had X, Y, and Z, if I had thought about that. I don't need this, right? So it takes some practice. So if you did that vacation several times over, like, we go to Maine every year, I don't forget the beach bag anymore. I don't forget the sunscreen, the bug spray, the citronella candles, all that stuff that in the beginning I was like, forgetting all of it. So it does take practice. It takes patience with yourself. 90-day goals are not set for you to beat yourself up at the end of the 90 days. And we're going to talk about exactly what you can do in order to make sure that that does not happen. Um, and then it takes time to get into this groove thing of 90-day goals, because you're going to learn that there are rhythms to your business and there are life cycles to your business that you can begin to plan around. But that takes a little bit of time in the game to see what that looks like and to see what you can start planting the seeds for 3 months ahead of time. So for us in the real estate business, even though this year's kind of a weird year, I know that the fall is a busy time of year. It's busy right now in the summer, but I don't want to not be reaching out and doing my marketing activities and planting the seeds for the fall, because I know that's a big time of year. And if I want to onboard a new realtor to use us this year, I need to be working to onboard them right now so that when the fall comes and they get a listing, they're going to be ready and comfortable to work with us. So let me share with you the framework that I use. It's really, really simple. The first is you've got to set the scene. You've got to put it on your calendar. You've got to plan a day to, or like not a day, but you need to plan a time on your calendar. I would say give yourself an hour to 90 minutes to an appointment for yourself that is non-negotiable, that is about your 90-day planning. And you want to set the scene. So whatever you need to do to, we're all emotional, energetic beings. So to get your energy in the right place. So whatever that looks like for you, whether that is, you are going to jam to Janet Jackson before, or you're going to put on the spa channel, or you're going to burn a candle, or you're going to make sure you have coffee, or I don't know, a breakfast smoothie or something, whatever that looks like. You're going to use colored pencils. Get in a place where you feel energetically really good. Okay. So, like I've told my students before, Financial Friday. Oh, hey, Melody, how are you? Hey, Denise. Oh, hi, Zach. Hey, John. How are you? Oh my gosh, so good to see you all. Um, so one of the things I told my students is that Fridays is my Financial Friday. I used to dread Financial Friday, freaking hated Financial Friday. Not because I didn't want to be in my numbers, just it was a pain. I had to categorize trips and look at receipts, and it was boring, right? Boring. So now what I do is it's a ritual. I get my coffee, I put on my spa channel on Pandora because I like to kick it old school. And it's like a ritual now, something I look forward to. So set that time and that scene for yourself. And this is also called what my business coach, my first business coach, called getting into the vortex. Fabienne Fredrickson called getting into the vortex. And getting into the vortex is getting into that heightened state of energy where you feel really good and you're feeling really positive. So the first thing after you've set the scene, first thing you're going to do before you even start thinking about what your 90-day goals are is you're going to look back over the last 90 days, and you are going to write down everything that you have accomplished, both personally and professionally. It's like a thank you note to yourself for what you did during that time. So if for you it meant you decided that you were going to go for a walk every morning for 15 minutes, or 5 days a week, or 3 days a week, write that down. If you did that, begin to get into that place of gratitude. It's like a gratitude journal. So getting into the vortex is about getting into a really good place of gratitude and thankfulness. So you want to do that. And one of the things as entrepreneurs that we forget to do is we forget to honor what we have accomplished. We are so focused on what we haven't that we forget to take time to thank ourselves for what we did accomplish. So that's the second thing you're going to do. So the first is you're going to get whatever that is that like gets you in the mood to, like, if just you feel really good music, good, scents in the air, fun things to write with, a beautiful journal, beautiful notebook, whatever that is. Then you're going to get yourself into that dang vortex, right? Get in it and like love up on yourself. Think about how well everything went in the past 90 days. Okay, then the next thing you're going to do is, in part of that looking back, once you've written out all of those things that are positive, I want you to take a moment and to just sit and be thankful for that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look back on those 90 days through a different lens. And there are a couple of questions that you need to ask yourself. The first is, what worked well and what can I lean into more? So when you look at your marketing activities, when you look at your client engagement, when you look at your social media, any of that, whatever you decide you're going to measure, what worked? What brought you new clients? What brought you new connections? What did you enjoy doing? Maybe it didn't yield results yet, but you really loved doing it. So one of the things I told my students when we were in COVID and I launched the East Asian Consultation Cure, I was in daily in that group doing Facebook Lives. I went from being terrified of Facebook Lives to finding out, no, I actually like Facebook Lives. So, hey, here I am on Facebook Live, and I'll continue to do them because I really enjoy this way of being with my community. So that was something that I learned in my last 90 days, but I wouldn't have known it if I hadn't tried it, right? So we want to make sure we're trying things. So what worked well that you can lean into? What didn't work well that you need to adjust, or maybe you just need to scrap it? And this could involve, again, it could involve your marketing. It could involve a process that you tried. Maybe you tried a new way of onboarding clients and it seemed confusing or clunky or it didn't quite work. Maybe it was a new way that you approached quoting for your services or something like that. So you want to think about what maybe we can let go of, or maybe there are tasks that you have continued to do. Maybe you found out your bookkeeping is just horrendous, as you were getting ready for taxes, and you really need support and being more organized around that. Maybe that's an opportunity to bring on somebody new. And then in general, what do I just need to reassess about the business? Am I offering the services that I want to be offering? Am I having the conversations that I want to be having? So that's the first thing. It's kind of taking the look back and being reflective. So we've set the scene, we get into the vortex, get into the zone, as it were, and then we're going to take a look back and kind of do some reassessment. So much easier said. No, so much easier to think about than say it. We're going to start brainstorming. Okay. The next thing is you're going to start brainstorming. And when you start brainstorming about your business, I want you to remember there are 5 kind of core departments in every business, whether you are a business, totally need tax help. Yes, Melody, I hear you. And you had some good Facebook Lives on those. So there are 5 key departments in any business, regardless of whether you are a business of one or a business of many. And those are your marketing, your sales, your delivery, your operating, and your finances. Okay. So again, those are marketing, sales, delivery, meaning delivery of whatever the service, product, whatever it is, operating. So how are you running the business on a daily basis, and your finances? How are those finances looking? Are you on top of your finances? If somebody asks you, what you made in the last 30 days, do you know? Those kinds of things. And you want to evaluate those as red, yellow, or green. So what do I mean by that? You're going to look at each one of those departments and go, okay, is this red, meaning it's really not going well? It's not serving the business the way that it needs to be. So if you're not bringing on enough clients, or maybe very few clients, marketing probably is going to be in the red zone, possibly the yellow zone, right? Or maybe your finances, you're not hitting your financial goals. Again, that would put you in a red or yellow zone. And maybe your bookkeeping is a mess and you have receipts everywhere, those kinds of things. So red is like things are not dialed in at all, like at all. Yellow means, okay, they're getting there, they're better, but there's room for growth and improvement here. And green is, this is totally humming fine. And so what you want to do is you want to look at those things that are humming fine, and you want to have those plates spinning, but then you want to start addressing and tackling what is it within those departments that are red and yellow that we need to fix. And there are 3 things that are typically the problem in any one of those. They are the people, the process, and the tools. Okay, so it's kind of like a little triangle with each one of those in a triangle. So when you look at each one of those and you evaluate them and you determine that they are in the red or yellow zone, you have to look at it and go, okay, is it an issue of people? Am I the only one doing it? And should I be the only one continuing to do it? right? So that could be an opportunity for delegation. And I teach my students inside the Staging Business Bootcamp how to decide what you should be focusing on. And what you should be thinking about for delegation. So even if you are still fairly new in business, there are always opportunities. I have had a virtual assistant inside the background of my business since my second year in business, because it's just not possible to manage all of the hats and plan for the business. Is it tools? Do you not have the right tools in place? So if, for example, you want to stay in touch via email more effectively with your clients, have you set up an email list, a CRM, a customer relationship management tool? If you haven't, and your marketing is lacking and you're not bringing on new clients, or you're not getting the engagement that you want, most likely you need to get that set up. That would become something as part of your 90-day plan. Okay, so look at your tools. Do you have the right tools? Do you have the right calendar system in place? Do you have the right scheduling mechanism in place? Do you have the right way for people to pay you in place? If you're chasing people for money, that could be a process and a tools issue, right? So maybe you don't have an easy way to accept payment. Maybe you're still taking checks at an appointment and people forget and you leave and then you're invoicing. It's a mess, right? So you want to look at that. Is it a process issue? And that kind of speaks to that a little bit. Is it a process issue? Is there a way that you can make your system better? I talked last week about our client onboarding system here on the Rethink Home Interiors page, and I mentioned that we have up to seven seven touch points for our clients before we ever step foot in their door, right? So there are 7 points of contact that we provide to our clients as part of our client onboarding process. The reason that we did that was because we kept arriving at appointments and realizing that we were experiencing people were kind of confused about what we were going to be doing. There was some resistance around what we were doing. They were nervous for us to be there. So we started putting things into place so that we could kind of get them excited about the appointment, get them understanding what our thought process is and moving them forward. So that is a great way to begin thinking about what are your upcoming priorities. So are you red, yellow, or green in any one of those 5 areas of your kind of your departments, your marketing, your sales, your delivery, your operations, and your finance? And if you are red or yellow, is it a people, process, or tools issue? That's going to begin. So you want to start writing that stuff out in your brainstorming process. The second thing you want to do, though, is you want to think about what are your non-negotiables within that. So, for example, if there are services that you are providing, or there are things that are falling apart as a function of maybe a system that is not in place, like so maybe you're having to look into several files to find a welcome email that you send to your clients, or you're always trying to find stuff that you've already created to send out to your clients. That you might want to put that as a non-negotiable, like I'm no longer willing to deal with that. So you want to be thinking about that. Department, yes. Oh, thanks, Kath. Yeah, those are the departments. Kath just put them in the comment section for you. So you want to think about what those non-negotiables look like for you. And then you want to be prepared for obstacle thoughts. So you're going to go through that exercise, and you might say to yourself, if, for example, let's go back to the example of you realize your marketing is not where it should be. And part of that is that you are not keeping in touch with people via email, but that's because you don't actually have a CRM set up, or maybe you're not using it as effectively as you want to be. And you want to put that as your priority list. The first thing your brain is going to do, even though we talked about your brain is going to conspire to figure out how to make things happen, your brain is also at the very beginning going to give you obstacle thoughts if it's like something involved with an area that you might not be comfortable with. So it might say something like, I have no idea what CRM to use. And once I sign up, I'm not sure if it's the right one. Then I'll have to figure out how to use it. And that's just going to be a pain in the butt. And I don't want to spend time on it. So those obstacle thoughts are going to come up with you or for you, or you're going to decide, geez, I probably need to hire on someone to help me do X, Y, or Z, fill in the blank. And you might say, I don't think I can afford that. And so you want to just start noting the obstacle thoughts. They will come up. You want to prepare for them because you want to gently notice them, acknowledge them, and then brush them aside, like kick them to the curb because you need to engage that part of your brain that will find the solutions for you. So Set the scene, get into the vortex, take your look back and reflect on what worked, what didn't work. Then you start your brainstorming process by thinking about those 5 departments in your business. Are they red, yellow, or green? And is it a person, process, or tools issue? Think about your non-negotiables and think about what obstacle thoughts might come up for you as you go to work on that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to choose out of that whole list, you're only going to choose 3 things to work on. And what I tend to do is I look at, is there a theme to all of these things? So if it is something like a process that isn't working, we are finishing up this process in the background of my business. We wanted to tweak and change our onboarding process for our styling evaluations to make it even more automated. And so all of the activities that I have set up over the course of this 90 days, my one goal is to get that automation complete. And then what I did within that was start to write out all of the steps that I needed to do in order to get that automation complete. Who needed to do it? Was it me? Is it my team? What are the steps that we need to do? So you want to start thinking about, you want to write out what that goal is. You want to write out who you might need to have in place, what you might need to have in place to get it done. And then the most important thing is you need to set a finish date for it. When will this be done? And then you need to take it a step beyond that, and you have to actually put things on your calendar. So as I've said before, if you create a structure around your weekly calendar and you have certain days or times or hours that you're going to be devoting to your business, working on your business, what I do is I put that appointment on the calendar, and then in bullet points underneath that appointment, what will I be working on during that time? That's how I track that, so that when I sit down to my desk and it's Marketing Monday, I don't need to worry. I don't need to think about what happens on my Marketing Monday time. I open that up and I actually have step by step what has to be done in that calendar. And then the last thing I'm going to have you do is something that Susan Hyatt of the Rich Coaches Club calls pre-capping. And I love this concept. A lot of times what people will tell you, kind of law of attraction-y stuff, is that you should write your goals down as though they are already finished. It's a visioning process. It's tapping into your imagination and your future planning. And so my first business coach, Fabienne Fredrickson, talked about writing out goal cards, where you'd write it on a note card and then read it every day, but you had to write it out as though it already happened. And it was maybe like a year ago, I went into my old goal cards and I just picked randomly 2 cards, and I wanted to share the concept with my team, where I had written about the kitchen that I wanted because we had a horrendous kitchen. So that was a personal goal. And I wrote it how I just love coming down the stairs in the morning, and the first thing I see is this gorgeous kitchen staring at me. It's a white kitchen. It's so beautiful. It's cheerful. It's this. I literally have that kitchen now. Like that has come into my life. I also had a goal card about the team that I wanted to have in place, the office queen that I wanted to have, and I have her. And Kath, I love you, my office queen. So we want to pre-cap things. So you want to write your goals down and put them in front of you, whether you put them in front of you at your desk on a bulletin board, whether you put them on a sticky note somewhere, whether you write them down daily, or whether you do this index card where you write down your goals as if they were already accomplished on a goal card. You're going to pre-cap them. So like, rather than you're recapping, you're going to pre-cap and be like, yes, I am loving working in my new email CRM, if we're to use that example and continue to use it. It like I'm in with my community every single week, talking with them. I've onboarded 2 new realtors or 3 new realtors, whatever that is, and they're just dreamy, amazing clients. And I know this sounds weird, and I'm a science girl, you know it, but there is something to that, the writing it down and the talking about it as though it's already happened. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. So here's the framework. You set the appointment for yourself, you set the scene, make it delicious, yummy, make you really want to sit and dive into your 90-day goal planning. You write out all of the amazing things that you have accomplished, both personally and professionally, that you are really proud of. And, and sometimes it can just be as simple as, I sat down to my journal, a few days a week more than I did before. Whatever that looks like for you, you want to get into the vortex by being grateful. Then you want to look back and reassess what worked well, what didn't work, what can you tweak and change, what do you want to lean into. And then from there, you want to start evaluating those five centers across your business: your marketing, your operations, your delivery. Oh, what marketing, sales, delivery, operations, and finance. Sorry, I can't do it out of order. My brain likes the shortcut. And you want to start evaluating whether those are red, yellow, and green, and where you need to add people, process, or tools in order to get those red and yellows up to your greens. And then you want to choose your 3 goals, the 3 things you want to focus on. Keep it really, really simple. Write them down. What support will you need to get that done? What is the deadline? Put that junk in your calendar. Okay. We are getting your business booties into shape. Okay. That's what this is all about. So remember, the first time you sit down to it, your brain is probably going to be like, I have no idea what to write. I am confused. I don't know if this is even the right process, if this is the right thing. That's okay. It's totally normal. It's going to happen. And you just need to sit down to do it. And then the next time, starting Q4, you will be even more accomplished at it. It will seem so much easier. So again, get your 90-day plan in action so that you can set yourself up for a much better finish to 2020 than what this debacle of a start probably has been for a lot of us. So, anyway, that said, we dive deep into these concepts into my course, Staging Business Bootcamp, which I call SB2. So if you are interested in getting on the mailing list for that, you can go ahead and DM me or put it in the comments to send you the link to join the waiting list, because we'll be launching that again in the fall. And I'd love to have you in if you are learning, if these concepts speak to you and you feel like you can implement these in the background or in the foreground of your business. Okay. So awesome. Oh, I love you right back. Envision your goals. Imagine what they look like. Yes. Feel like when they are done. It is so true. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions before I wrap up about your 90-day goal planning? Comments, questions, concerns, any of them? I know there's a little bit of a delay. Awesome. Well, I'm so happy that you have all joined me in on here today in this Wednesday coaching sesh. I'll be back next week with some good stuff coming out of that. So, and again, if I don't write it, I have to write them down at the end. Oh, Julie, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. This is great. This is all the stuff that I wish I had known in the beginning of my business and would have been so super helpful to have had. So just wanting to pay it forward and share it all with you. So anyway, again, if you are interested in getting on the waiting list for our Staging Business Bootcamp, where we dive deep into these topics and digital marketing and all of that good stuff, definitely put it in the comments. We'll send you the link, DM me. Email me, whatever works best for you. Okay. All right, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week. The business side of staging is the hardest part of running the business. Exactly. Right. That's the thing. Like, that's why the Staging Business Bootcamp was born, because the staging part's easy and it gets easy really fast. And so what we need to do is recognize that we're running a business and that we haven't created necessarily a job for ourselves. We want to run a business that eventually, the goal is that you can run the business and choose what you want to, what your role is inside of it. You're not doing all of it. In the beginning, we do all of it. We just need tools and skills and strategies to help us get there. So if you love to do just the staging part, Staging Business Bootcamp will kind of talk to you about how you can delegate out all the just icky, annoying stuff. We had 2.6 views. Yay, Lori and John. Great job today. I know, John Mitchell, we did. It's amazing. So fun. I can't wait to do it again. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you next week and we will dive into more awesome behind the scenes business topics. Okay. All right. Have a great one, everybody.